Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makor Kodash, Ba'ashem Makor Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, so I ran across this article that's saying it's rumored, all right, that the troops over there in the U.S. military are now purposely failing drug tests so they don't have to go to war, all right, so they can get kicked out or whatever. And, this just speaks to the sedition, among men. All right. This military is becoming more rebellious, more and more rebellious against the leadership, all right, Nero 47 and his crew. All right, because everybody disagrees with how this man is moving as far as his international policy, man. All right. So you have these troops, all right, allegedly, all right, smoking weed, all right, failing these drug tests on purpose. And I don't know if they still do it the same way, all right, but the military used to have you like what we call, pissing in a pot. It'd be like let's say 10 people, all right, and y'all will all, urinate, and they would just pour it in a pot, and if it came back, if it was any type of substance within all those urines, then everybody would come back to take individual tests, all right. So that mean these dudes, is smoking a lot of weed, man. All right, in an attempt to not, get deployed or be in the service at all, man. And once again, this is sedition within his country, man. All right, this man's own military is rebelling against him, and from the outside looking in, if you are adversary of this place, this would be the perfect time to attack, man. All right, because this man's strength, all right, in this kingdom, and these Edomites and other kingdoms, man, has been their weaponry. That's their blessing, the sword. And the military is a big part, or the biggest part of the sword of Esau, man. So now that sword is being taken away from him, he looking like food to the other nations, man. All right, but it says U.S. troops failing drug tests on purpose to dodge Trump's wars. Shocking silent protests claim. All right, claims of U.S. troops using marijuana to avoid deployment sparked debate on discipline and morale. And as far as morale, all right, the morale is low because everybody hates the leader. All right. Says claims that U.S. troops are failing drug tests on purpose by using marijuana in what some have called a silent protest against potential deployments in Donald Trump's military engagements have circulated widely on social media. The allegations surfaced as concerns grow over possible ground operations in Iran following recent joint U.S.-Israeli airstrikes and ongoing counter-narcotics missions in the Caribbean. Pentagon officials have issued no comment on the specific claims, which remain unverified as of the 23rd of March. It says the rumor gained significant traction following an Instagram post by the account Knowledge Dome, which reported that some individuals linked to the armed forces may be deliberately failing drug tests to avoid deployment during tensions associated with the president's strategy, man. All right, this military is revolting against Nero, man. All right, this place is crumbling from within. All right, ain't nobody scared of no military or no group of people that's not, united. All right, and this is a major blow that the military is unwilling or disagrees to the point with Trump's international policy that they will do this, man. All right, and you may have some of these military members who just say we're not going. As far as where they get deployed, they say we're not gonna go because They feel as though they serve the Constitution and not, the commander in chief, man. Uh, it says the Post described the idea as a silent protest and noted it has sparked debate across platforms about discipline and morale. Comparable messages have appeared on Facebook groups and threads where users speculate that troops are smoking weed to force administrative discharge rather than risk involvement in what they see as unnecessary conflicts. While these accounts emphasize the absence of verified evidence or organized campaigns, the rapid spread illustrates how quickly unconfirmed stories can influence perceptions of military readiness. Experts note that during periods of geopolitical tension, such narratives can spread rapidly, often reflecting public sentiment or frustrations rather than actual conditions on the ground. And you got to realize these people that's in the military, these young folks in the military right now, this is not the same as this article speaks on morale. They don't give a fuck about this place, man. You know, it's not the same, gung ho patriotic spirit that it was at a time. Going to the military was like some big thing at a point. You're a hero. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Jake learned that the hard way. Coming back from like Vietnam and shit, and still get treated like a nigga over here. But really speaking on Edomites that go into the military, man. That used to be like a real thing. Like, oh, he's a hero. He served the country. You know what I'm saying? Take care. I hope your knee feels better. So, these people, as I said before, these young folks, they don't care. You may have, some of those patriotic people in the mix, but I say 95% of the people in the military, especially Jake, that is going there strictly for the benefits. You will get to go to school for free, get some money, get some housing, and that's what they use that as the foundation of trying to be what's considered successful when they come back. It ain't that, man. You know what I'm saying? And you seeing that, man. These young, like I said, man, these young folks don't give a fuck, man. And you talk about discipline, okay? You see on TikTok and various social media platforms, all right, these niggas doing the latest dance and shaking their ass in the camera, man. You know what I'm saying? These ain't warriors, man. These is little weirdos, man, with a military suit on, man. They ain't like that, man. They ain't ready for war like that, man. Even when I went into the military in about '09, and I went into the Air Force, and even the basic training was soft. You know what I'm saying? Now I know other branches may have more intense training, Navy SEALs and Marines and, even Army, all this shit. All right, but it was a point where the dude had to, well, we're not really supposed to curse at you, we can't really touch you, and all this shit, man. And this was in '09, and the world done got way softer and more like a bitch, since then. You know what I'm saying? So they probably gotta, hug and kiss and all these motherfuckers, man. Part of my language, man. But, it's just soft, man. And that's the product that they gonna put on the ground. This place is cooked, man. Esau is losing the sword, man. All right. It says the drug test speculation emerges against a backdrop of documented increases in troops exploring legal avenues to avoid service. The Center of Conscience and War has been a 500% rise in calls and more than 1,000% increase in cases since the Iran-related strikes intensified in late February. Executive Director Mike Preisner stated that several dozens have started the CO process this month. with at least one new CO client per day. This is over 1,000% increase from the normal pace of cases. Many service members question the conflict alignment with U.S. interests, disturbed with some disturbed by rhetoric from commanders. So these people is already trying to get out of this war, man. All right. It says the GI rights hotline registered 212 increase in the first half of March alone, matching typical monthly totals in just 2 weeks. These trends point to underlying morale challenges as the administration maintains pressure for potential escalations, including possible deployment of ground forces. The armed forces uphold one of the strictest drug program frameworks anywhere, screening for cannabis metabolites with an initial uh, immuno immunocy cutoff of 50 nanograms per milliliter, confirmed via mass spectrometry at just 15 nanograms per milliliter. Marijuana continues to top the list of detected substances in routine urinalysis. All right, it says a positive result can trigger non-judicial punishment, administrative separation, or even court-martial, often resulting in the loss of benefits and dishonorable discharge that can hamper future civilian employment. No Pentagon data released to date shows any statistically significant uptick in positives that could corroborate the protest claims. The regulations, rooted in long-standing directives, reinforce the military's emphasis on readiness and safety. All right, and this shit just ain't come out of nowhere, man. Ain't nobody just get on a social media site and make this shit up, man. All right, so this being another example of sedition in this place, man. All right, these dudes is risking it all because a dishonorable discharge, if they go that far for marijuana, or a dishonorable discharge is worse than a felony, man. Because as I said before, that being in the military was some type of thing that was admired. So if you come back with a dishonorable discharge, they look at you like you committed treason or some shit like that. So employers, usually stay away from you. You can't do a lot of shit, man, with a dishonorable discharge. But these folks over there in the military smoking big weed so they can get out, and they don't care. They just don't want to fight this war, man. But this war is gonna happen. They is gonna fight it. Nero, he might just write something to play. Well, it's cool for them to smoke a little weed. It's all right. And you niggas gonna be stuck, man. Y'all gonna fight this war, man. All right, you Edomites over there, and you Jakes, good morning, and you Jakes that have aligned yourself with Esau. Y'all ain't coming home, man. All right, but I ain't gonna hold you. I hope that video was edifying. Shalom.